Hi, thank you for watching Digging to China. I'm Dong Sheng. If you have not done so already, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. According to Bloomberg, Chinese authorities are gearing up to deploy 1 trillion yuan in cost-effective funds to support the real estate market. Since the beginning of this year, global economic discussions, including those within China, have revolved around whether the Chinese Communist Party will intervene to support the real estate market and what measures might be taken. Prior to this, the CCP had only introduced relatively mild policies, and more substantial measures to bolster the market were still pending. The previous policy adjustments primarily focused on symbolic changes to property purchase restrictions. The real crisis in the Chinese real estate market lies in the bankruptcy of real estate companies after the decline in housing prices. The bankruptcy of real estate companies could trigger related financial crises. Therefore, the current efforts to rescue the market are not aimed at saving property prices. The desire to rescue property prices has been abandoned, and such fantasies have been given up. The ongoing effort to salvage the real estate market is widely perceived as an attempt to prevent a potentially disastrous financial crisis in China aiming at the collapse of the real estate industry. According to the Bloomberg report, the Chinese Communist Party has now made the determined decision to allocate 1 trillion yuan in low-cost funds to aid these struggling real estate enterprises. The report suggests that the CCP is expected to announce the specific implementation plan for this initiative as early as this month, with the funding amount reaching to a minimum of 1 trillion yuan. The objective is to contribute to the stabilization of the stagnant real estate market. According to Bloomberg, sources suggest that the People's Bank of China is contemplating policy measures, including special loans and supplementary loans secured by mortgages. These steps aim to provide phased, low-cost, medium to long-term funds through policy banks to support the construction of the 3 major projects. The final amount is subject to potential changes. In late October, during the Central Financial Work Conference chaired by Xi Jinping, there was an emphasis on expediting the 3 major projects. These projects include ensuring affordable housing, transforming urban villages, and promoting the dual-use infrastructure for peace and urgency. I don't know your reaction upon seeing this news. For those not well versed in China's financial policies or the Central Financial Work Conference, reading the following news may convey a sense of urgency and shed light on their objectives. On November 14th, a post on the website of China's State Council featured an article titled, "Effectively Preventing and Resolving Financial Risks, Firmly Safeguarding the Bottom Line of Avoiding Systemic Risks," signaling the gravity of the situation. Here is a concise summary of the main points in the article. Adhering to the fundamental principles of ensuring overall stability, coordinating efforts, implementing targeted policies, and precise risk mitigation, the People's Bank of China is committed to a robust campaign to prevent and resolve significant financial risks. The key emphasis is on fortifying institutional mechanisms for financial stability, systematically addressing and resolving a series of high-impact, urgent, and systemic risk factors to effectively uphold the nation's economic and financial security, as well as overall financial stability. So, how do we tackle these urgent and global risk factors? To seal vulnerabilities and fortify the embankment, we must take 4 essential steps. Firstly, prudently manage high-risk groups and financial institutions. Secondly, thoroughly clean up and rectify the financial sector. Thirdly, effectively prevent and resolve risks in key areas. Fourthly, establish and enhance the financial stability guarantee system. The People's Bank of China adheres to market-oriented and legal principles addressing institutional shortcomings and precisely mitigating risks for high-risk and large-scale corporate entities. Through examples such as the bankruptcy and the liquidation of Baoshan Bank, and as well as the bankruptcy reorganization of H&A Group, Huaxin Group, and the Founder Group, various business entities are cautioned, emphasizing market principles that doing business requires capital, borrowed money must be repaid, investments entail risks, and engaging in wrongdoing comes with consequences. In effectively mitigating risk in key sectors, the People's Bank of China employs a comprehensive approach addressing both supply and demand to ensure the stable functioning of the real estate market. The focus is on maintaining a steady and orderly flow of financing in the real estate sector. Tailored housing credit policies based on local conditions continue to guide a decline in actual interest rates and down payments, providing robust support for both essential and upgraded housing needs. Collaborating with relevant departments, various measures are implemented to actively assist local governments in prudently resolving debt risks. The guidance to financial institutions emphasizes negotiations on equal terms with financing platforms, utilizing methods such as extensions, new borrowings to retire old debts, and replacements. This approach systematically tackles existing debt risks, exercises stringent control over incremental debts, and enhances the routine monitoring mechanism for the financial debt of financing platforms. By delving into this news, one can comprehend the origin of the reported 1 trillion yuan as highlighted by Bloomberg. This substantial sum is a direct outcome of Xi Jinping's personal involvement and command during the Financial World Conference aimed at mitigating risks and dismantling a metaphorical time bomb, addressing urgent and widespread financial risks. The allocation of 1 trillion yuan represents an emergency measure in response to critical challenges. The rationale behind this major financial development is noteworthy. To begin with, the question arises, is China currently in the midst of a financial crisis? This is a topic of contention, with Wall Street expressing significant skepticism and caution, leading to a substantial withdrawal of foreign capital since August. While external assessments suggest that China's financial sector is facing challenges, the official announcement of such a crisis has not been made by Chinese authorities as of now. Despite Xi Jinping's unconventional visit to the People's Bank of China, conveying a sense of the gravity of the situation, the specific extent of the crisis remains undisclosed to the outside world. The recent State Council article, coupled with the recent approval of 1 trillion yuan national debt issuance by the National People's Congress, and the announcement of another 1 trillion yuan to rescue real estate enterprises, strongly suggests that China is currently facing a financial crisis rather than taking precautionary measures before its onset. This significant intervention indicates an ongoing financial crisis that the Chinese authorities are not intending to officially declare. Allocating 1 trillion yuan while denying the existence of a crisis appears contradictory and self-deceptive. Secondly, the CCP's swift response is aimed at addressing risks of a global and urgent nature, specifically targeting major real estate enterprises. However, the question remains, can the allocated 1 trillion yuan effectively resolve the financial challenges faced by these large real estate firms? It may fall short, akin to a drop in the ocean. Considering just Evergrande Group's debt for 1 trillion yuan, along with other real estate giants like Country Garden and Vanke, the scale of this crisis is staggering. The central bank seeks to boost its confidence by citing successful resolutions of previous cases involving H&A Group, Huaxin Group, and Baoshan Bank, suggesting it will employ similar methods to address the challenges faced by large real estate enterprises. However, these past cases were relatively isolated, making them somewhat more manageable. This time, the challenge is far greater, involving the entire industry and making the dismantling or rescue operation much more complex than before. The third point of consideration is the timing of this emergency intervention. The current real estate market confronts two major challenges: the widespread decline in property prices, which could potentially trigger a financial crisis, and the fact that during an overall downturn in the real estate market, the most significant impact is felt by China's major property developers, often the first to face debt defaults. The key question is whether the allocated 1 trillion yuan can effectively rescue these major developers. Concurrently, there is the challenge of an overall decline in the real estate market. This rescue effort differs from interventions in other historical periods. Previously, the objective was to save the entire real estate market from collapse, relying on stable property prices to conceal the crisis in the real estate sector. However, this time, with prices still falling across the entire real estate market, the goal is to address the financial crisis of the largest real estate enterprises first. To draw an analogy, if a precarious dam has cracks and is partially breached, the Central Bank of the Chinese Communist Party is attempting to patch these cracks and breaches. Nevertheless, heavy rain is still pouring and the water level of the dam is rising. Patching up a small gap may prove ineffective, as these efforts may not withstand the mounting pressure caused by the rising water level. Visualize this scenario, and one might reconsider the impact of this 1 trillion yuan. With the ongoing heavy rain and the sustained decline in property prices, the entire dam could collapse, rendering the 1 trillion yuan spent on plugging the gaps ineffective and likely washed away. Presently, the primary challenge confronting China's real estate sector lies in the diminishing confidence of the Chinese populace. The perception of the market as a secure investment with guaranteed appreciation and profitability has waned, leading to the financial characteristics of the market deteriorating. Consequently, the Chinese Communist Party's decision to allocate 1 trillion yuan to rescue major real estate enterprises raises significant doubts about its capacity to rectify the issues within the real estate sector. Considering the continued decline of the real estate market, the efficacy of rescuing these major property developers is subject to considerable skepticism. The CCP's objective in this market rescue remains unclear. It is framed as a rescue for the real estate market, with the ultimate aim to assisting a few prominent property developers. The effectiveness of achieving the desired market rescue outcome is uncertain, and the goals and methods employed are ambiguous. Fourthly, the Chinese Communist Party has a long-standing habit of concealing crisis. While the international community observes and discusses China's real estate crisis and the associated negative repercussions, the CCP hesitates to acknowledge it. Despite allocating 1 trillion yuan to rescue the market, the question arises: if there's no crisis, why undertake market rescue efforts? Consequently, the crisis has already unfolded, even if the CCP refuses to openly admit it. This extends to recent revelations by the central bank governor regarding the support given to Huaxin, disclosing the amount invested in comparison to interventions in companies like H&A Group. Such disclosures are noteworthy, as the CCP typically handles such information about the rescues discreetly, occasionally letting slip certain truths inadvertently. Hence, despite a crisis affecting the entire real estate sector, a pivotal component constituting 25% of China's GDP, the CCP remains hesitant to admit its occurrence. Xi Jinping quietly visited the People's Bank of China to personally oversee operations. Given Xi Jinping's characteristics, capabilities, and a governing track record, the efficacy of these market rescue endeavors is questionable. When one is unwilling to confront challenges and instead opts to obscure the truth, effectively addressing the situation becomes a challenging task. The challenges stemming from the real estate crisis are considerably more severe than those posed by individual companies like H&A Group or Huaxin. In reality, China faces a financial risk even more significant than the real estate crisis, namely the impending local government debt crisis. According to a Goldman Sachs survey, China's local government debt amounts to 94 trillion yuan, a figure that the CCP neither confirms nor denies. However, recent findings from the International Monetary Fund validated China's local government debt at 92 trillion yuan, still an alarming amount. Despite this, the CCP remains reluctant to confront the issue and continues its strategy of procrastination, borrowing new funds to repay old ones, prolonging the situation. This delaying tactic may eventually lead to an explosive debt crisis. China's real estate industry faced a worsening crisis due to Xi Jinping's decision last year not to intervene and let the industry resolve its issues independently. Now, recognizing the escalating crisis, Xi Jinping has changed course and decided to step in to address the situation. Initially hesitant to offer assistance, he is now compelled to take action. Last year, Xi Jinping adopted a passive stance, addressing problems reactively. For instance, when rescuing Evergrande, the primary concern was ensuring the completion of housing projects to prevent public discontent, while leaving the company to bear its own debt burden. The delayed response indicates a lack of effective governance on Xi Jinping's part. On this occasion, Xi Jinping personally visited the central bank, assumed direct command, and convened the Central Financial Work Conference himself. This signifies Xi Jinping's taking charge of addressing the financial crisis stemming from the real estate turmoil in China. Such a move has instilled a sense of apprehension in both the market and the public opinion in China. Historically, whenever Xi Jinping directly commands or personally oversees matters, it has tended to lead to either incomplete projects or failures. This appears to be a consistent pattern in outcomes of such situations. Given Xi Jinping's traits and abilities, his intervention in handling this financial crisis is likely to exacerbate the complexity of the issue. Why does he contribute to complicating matters rather than aiding in their resolution? The reason lies in the tendency for political considerations to take precedence whenever Xi Jinping becomes involved. People are more inclined to adhere to the safest approach as dictated by Xi Jinping, even if it means avoiding the core issues. As long as Xi Jinping portrays the situation positively, individuals are hesitant to bring up any concerns. Hence, my instinct suggests that if Xi Jinping personally oversees the resolution of this financial crisis, it is bound to become more chaotic, with the crisis intensifying. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. Just click the subscribe button right here. I'll see you again shortly. Until then, be well.